due to our upcoming trip, we thought it'd be a good idea to take you guys through some of the pre-checks that we carry out before we go off and away. So we're about to do 10,000 kilometres from Perth to Perth, and yeah, let's take a look over the old GU and just make sure that everything's in tip-top shape before we go. Other things to check that probably aren't as important, but are also just really good to do again while you're in the city where you can still get the bits and pieces, is check your headlights. Alright, all your lights, parkers, indicators. If you've got one blown, look, it's not the end of the world if you're in the middle of nowhere, but it can be a pain in the ass if you lose your headlight. It makes driving at night a lot harder. But checking all that sort of stuff, make sure there's no corrosion. If you've got LEDs, pull the back of them off. Your spotlights, pull the covers off, give them all a clean. The cleaner your lights, the better the light you're going to get out of them. Another big crucial thing that you need to do before you start setting off on your big trip, check your wheel bearings. Everyone seems to forget it. The amount of times we've seen cars on the side of the road doing wheel bearings, it's not fun. So they're quite easy to check. Realistically, as someone who's not a mechanic, I'm only going to check the tightness of, make sure that there's no movement in the wheel. Alright, that's quite easy to do. Simply jack your car off the ground like you saw me do before. Hands at 12 and 6, and just try and move the tyre in and out motion. There should be no movement in it. Rotate the tyre 90 degrees, go again, 90 degrees, go again. You should have no movement in it. Also make sure it spins freely. There's no grinding noises, no weird sounds. You probably will hear the sounds of your brakes maybe on your rotors, but that should be about it. The other thing you can check, especially at the front of your car, if you've got manual locking hubs, okay, is lock your hubs in. Alright, with your other wheel on the ground, you should feel a little bit more resistance than what you did before. That means your hub's probably in good working order. Just remember when you're done, back into two-wheel drive. So apart from under your bonnet, the front of your car, things like that, you need to be getting under your car as well. Looking at things again, nuts, bolts, all your fasteners, make sure they're all in good order. Check your exhaust, make sure there's no rattles, no loose bits. Make sure you grease your tail shafts up as well. A lot of people forget about them. Usually there's grease nipples in all your uni joints and your expanding joint. Give them a good grease. Take a grease gun with you as well. Top them up where you can. If you do any water crossings, get out, top them back up again. Better to spend a couple of bucks on grease than again getting a tow, getting parts flying out to you. So apart from doing just general checks over your car, there's a few things that we recommend that you should take as spares when you're travelling in remote bushland. Especially for diesels, one of the big things is a spare fuel filter, or two. You don't know what quality of fuel you're going to get when you're out in the middle of an never. Also recommend running an auxiliary filter, like a pre-filter with a water separator in it. Sometimes the fuel out there hasn't been touched for quite a while, and there can be residue, all that sort of stuff in your fuel. Other things to take, spare radiator hoses, spare fan belt, alright? If you're running a car like I've got with a single serpentine belt, single point of failure. Your fan breaks, your fan belt snaps, you're up shit creek without a paddle on a sinking canoe. If you're running a car that's got like Jay Shorty, for example, where his air conditioner runs a separate belt, if your air conditioner belt snaps, so be it. Okay, you have a shit trip. That's the reality of it. Some other little things that we recommend to carry as well, you can carry things like spare alternators, spare starter motors, Ben and Auto, spare starter motors, not a bad idea to carry. Spare air conditioners, you can carry whatever you want. All it comes down to is how much space you've got in your vehicle. A couple of little things that we also recommend. This stuff here, this is radiator sealant, so if I get a small leak in my radiator, I can pour this powder into it. As it heats up, it seals back up, and we can keep going, get to the local town, buy a new radiator. It's get you out of shit stuff. It is not designed as a permanent fix. On that, get yourself a tube of this. This is called Selly's Need It. It's a polymer repair compound. You can use it for just about anything. Okay, this stuff, it just says steel on it. I've used this to fix a radiator. I had a broken radiator coming back from Adelaide once, from Coolgardie, coming out of Coolgardie. Had coolant everywhere, sealants and stuff wouldn't fix it. Took the radiator out, drained it down, made the hole a little bigger, popped some of this stuff into it. It got me back into Perth. It wasn't the nicest drive in, but it got me back into Perth. So for $14-15 bucks from Bunnings, get yourself some Selly's Need It. It is really, really good stuff. Again, we're not mechanics. We've just been doing this for a little while, and these are the things that we carried out, and generally speaking, we don't have too many problems. So, safe travels everyone.